Were you nervous before? What were you expecting before I walked in the door?
The look on your face showed you how much you cared about us. I'll never forget that day, personally.
You didn't have it easy, and you won't have it easy.
So I'm like, Alex gotta have a kid. Do you ever see yourself being a dad?
Never say never. Anyone that knows me really well knows that I have a twin brother and I have two older brothers. And so when I mention that I may be spending time with my little brother or I spoke to my little brother, it's always responded with a question mark. Like, I didn't know that. And my immediate response is, no, it's my little brother from the Big Brother program. And that's who I have in studio today. I have my little brother. He goes by Carl Clark now, but I call you CJ. I met you as CJ Clark. CJ Clark, welcome to the Alex Perry on Fire podcast.
Appreciate you having me. I want to say September 14th, 2009 was our first date meeting each other.
When you signed up to take on a Big Brother, and what I want to set the tone is we call it Big Brother, but it's more than that. It's a mentor, but you don't know that when you're first meeting.
No, you don't.
So talk to me about that. You would just go more into detail. First of all, you talked about anger management. Was that a reason that you signed up to have a Big Brother?
Yeah, so and when we first came back, so we was from 2007, 2009, we was coming back from Chicago to Texas, and 2009, once we finally moved back, my mom was like, we done. And so we was in a transitional housing program right over here called Interfaith Housing. And so we was in that program, and I was constantly kept getting in trouble. And so the anger management counselor, he was like, hey, how about I recommend you this program called Big Brother, Big Sister. So we was on that. We got on there, I want to say, in about June, July of 2009. And so everything started to set up in September and stuff. Like, we was getting to know each other before we actually, you came over and stuff to the house. And so that's what really led up into it. And so I definitely say Interfaith played a big part into, showing me the program. And so with that, it really just opened my eyes up into the situation.
Were you nervous before? What were you expecting before I walked in the door?
I'm not gonna even lie, I didn't know. You get the little brief paper, they say your name, the things that you like, your favorite color. And I was just, okay. I'm like, I never met him before. I mean, this is something new. This is, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm excited. It's a new territory. I don't think they have it in Chicago, a Big Brother, Big Sister program. Well, they probably do, but it wasn't, it's kind of tough coming into the.
But at age 11, did you understand what that meant? Or was it, it doesn't have to be for, kids who don't have, maybe it's a father figure or a mother figure. It can be, but and I think the intention is to find a mentor, but you didn't know me.
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't know anything about me. It's kind of, some might argue it's weird, right? Like, what's a 27-year-old want to do hanging out with an 11-year-old, right?
Some people will call it weird, but Big Brother, Big Sister does a background check on everybody. So if you are thinking about getting into it, feel safe to just know they do background checks on everybody. And they let the parents know, like, when they was telling us, like, from Big Brother, Big Sister, they were like, hey, this person is saved. We did background checks. I know for my sister, my sister had a big sister named Victoria. So it was the same situation that was like that. So they do background checks on everybody. So
you had a level of comfort.
Yeah, level of comfort, yeah.
Now talk to me, because I know what I've gotten from you.
Yeah.
But I want to hear what you've gotten from having a mentor or someone that you can talk to or lean on. Mm-hmm. How did it start? What were the first things that you kind of were leaning on or seeing that you hadn't seen before?
Honestly, it was just the words of advice, and being there, being supportive. I remember I had a band event and I was in the 6th grade and you came and showed up, So and you used to always let us know, like, let me know that, hey, you got a busy schedule, but if it's something that we wanted you to support, you always came and showed support. And just with that, and also on top of that, so I started to get into college and high school. I was playing football and I was getting scholarships to play football. And I remember we was sitting at a wing stop, and you was just like, hey, football only lasts about like 6, 7 years tops, and you're gonna have to put your body through an ache, And so I was just there thinking, I was just like, man, I'm like, if I stop playing football today, what else would I do? And so you put that thought into my head, and I was just like, man, I love food. So you have driven me to wanting to go to college, but not for the aspect to play football, but the aspect to grow myself as a person. So those my little things, but it's so monumental to me that if you weren't around, I probably would have went to college, but it probably would have been for football. So
Let's back up a little bit to pre-college. I met you and you said it. I met you 250 yards from where we're standing right now, which was close to where I lived. But you had a lot of change along the way. Different schools. Well, talk to me about that. What changed along the way, and what did you have to deal with and overcome along the way just to get to university, to get to college?
so man, we were standing in this area over here, and I want to say this is East Dallas area. We were standing over here for a little bit, and so we graduated from the program, and we went over there to the I want to say the ghetto over there in North Dallas by North Park Mall, and so that's what we first moved to, and we were still in Dallas ISD, but just going to a different school, and just having to change so much. I want to say that was the last school I changed before I finished it out in Irving. But it was
How many times did you move in probably a 5-year span?
I want to say about like 6 times. 6 times, yeah. I want to say because we moved from from here to North Dallas, then North Dallas to Irving, then from Irving back to North Dallas, then back from North Dallas back to Turl, then back to Irving.
And
Yeah.
how does that affect you as a 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old?
Oh, it was tough. You can't make a lot of friends because you probably constantly moving, or even when it came you like hanging out with you, it was a time period where we didn't hang out for like 2 or 3 months because we was constantly moving. Given the circumstances of our situations, it was very tough, so it was just like, it was one point where I want to say, but right before we moved to Dallas, we were staying in a homeless shelter. I remember we went to go eat calamari, and you got us some milkshakes and stuff from Burger King, and you asked us, you was like, y'all gonna take that inside? And I was just like, no, we can't. We got to throw it out. And just the look on your face showed you how much you cared about us. I don't know if you remember that day, but I'll never forget that day personally for me. And I just told myself, I'm like, when I get grown, I'm gonna take control of my life. You know, and that's one of the things you showed me. You showed me like, hey, your family is still your family. But you got to get it for you because there is nobody else that's gonna have your back. And so with that, it was hard. I think my sister left out. She moved out. Man, it was me and my brother, so it was a lot on me.
What are you leaning on as a 14, 15, 16-year-old to say, I want something different maybe than what I'm seeing or what I've seen from my sister or other people?
Yeah, it was honestly just living through it, and I couldn't do nothing about it because I was a child. Besides you, that was the only outcome. So my biggest thing was that I couldn't control it at 14. I couldn't control the situation I was in because I'm a child. I got a guardian. So that my purpose at 14 and 15 was be like, hey, I got to get myself out of this situation because I don't want to be like this when I'm grown. I don't want to feel this emotion that I'm feeling at 14, 15 years old. I shouldn't have to. As a child, I should be worried about children things, and so that wasn't for me, so that was just lingering in the back of my head every day. I was just telling myself like, you got to go to school, got to get good grades, you got to be one of the best on the field. This is your basically practically I use football as my way out for so I can get to where I'm at. But it's also with the help of your advice as well, because if I don't get your advice, I go to school for the wrong reasons. Right. I'm in there, excuse my language, half assing.
You could sort of.
And so You don't when you don't have that type of mentorship from someone who been to college and already was done with college. When you don't have that mentorship, because I'm the first in my family to graduate college. I don't expect them to tell me, "Hey, this is how it is over the next 4 years," because I'm going to uncharted territory to them. But I knew that's what I wanted. I knew I wanted a college degree because with that I can the the sky's the limit. So to me, I was just like, I gotta go hit the ground running.
So you understood at an age what you couldn't control, but knew that once you got to a point that you could control it, that's when you would
Be
take the reins.
Yeah.
How did it make your family feel when you said you were going to college? You just said you were the first person ever in your family to go, but
Yeah.
even the idea that you said you want to go to college.
Well, I went to college. Well, I got my college shirt on. So Prairie View is about, I want to say about 3 hours away from here. And I was going. They got me on a football scholarship. Then some things happened. I was wanting to asking a little bit more money for financial aid, but they couldn't do it because that was on a very tight budget. But I was already set in stone on this school, so I had other offers from Minnesota and another offer from Oregon State. But I didn't want to go that far. Once I went to Prairie View in the fall time of 2015 of my senior year, I fell in love with the campus, fell in love with the school, and I was just like, I'm going. I don't care what nobody else say. I'm going.
But yeah, and you say I don't care what they say. Did they want you to go?
Yeah, once my mom wanted me to go, everybody wanted me to go. I really don't say people mixed emotions started to pick up once I got to my junior year when I had to realize like, where do I want to stay at after I graduate? And I kind of said it in my head, I'm going to stay in Houston. And I know you be like, that's 3 hours away, but for me, for the things that I was healing from my emotional trauma as a child, I needed to be away from that because if I graduate college, come back into it, I'm basically now I'm going to be trying to be Captain Save everybody. And when you're only making so much little money coming out of college, in the beginning, you can't save everybody.
What was your emotional trauma that you just brought up?
It was really just not being able to be a child. Having to grow up, having to once I turned 15, get a job, help out with bills. Not being able to focus on school. That plays a bigger part into where I wanted to go for college. Um, so it was just then the way I was brought up, um, mama, if you're watching this, don't take it too hard. But you don't want to grow up being salty with words. You don't want to. People can be so loving, but it's the little things that deteriorates a kid. So having to grow up in it and now I have the option to leave. I just didn't look back. Like I haven't moved back home since I left out the house. And you already know that. I already told you from I love my family, but it's things that I personally had to heal from that I couldn't go live back in the house with them. I'm there for them when if they need me or if they need my support or need somebody to talk to. But s- as far as living in the same household, no, can't can't because when you growing from traumatic situations and you go back into it, it's the little things that can trigger it. And I remember my brother talk about it. My brother go through the same thing too, and I tell him, and before he moved back home, I said, find a way. Don't move back, but find a way. And so, given my mama had to have surgery and stuff, he went back home anyway. And I just told him, I was just like, sometimes when we make decisions like that, it comes to bite us in the butt 2 or 3 years after the road. I'm like, yeah, you save money, but how much how much are you going to allow that to deteriorate your mental health?
And we talk a lot about that on the show is you got to put your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah,
You got to take care of CJ before he can take care of the family.
yeah, most definitely.
And you came to that on your own.
Yeah, and I had to, and it was counseling in college as well. I was with my lady. We've been together for the last 8 years, and certain things that I would do that she would just be like, I don't like that, and I didn't have a reason to why I done it, and so went to counseling, and also working at Kids Across America, I was able to go to counseling there as well, and so it just meeting people that went through similar situations as me and had them tell a story and how they went about it and it just like tell me hey, I can do this. I don't have to I could be the beaming light that my family need. not necessarily as financially, but hey, yeah, we've been through this, but we overcomers. You know?
You're showing that a pattern can be broken.
Yes, yes, and it's generational, because not just my mom went through it, but her parents went through it. She lost her parents at a young age. Her mom was on drugs. My grandma had to raise, but my grandma was verbally abusive and physically abusive. So sometimes when your parents don't grow up in the right household and they don't assess their trauma, they tend to pass it on down to their kids. It's called, I like to call it trauma bonding. If I went through that as a child and I could pass it on down to you, and then we can share the same type of trauma. I don't want to share that trauma with y'all. So I have to break those. It's generation curses that I have to personally break for myself.
And did you learn that on your own, or did you learn that with the help of what you just said, which was, camps you went to, therapists, possibly me, other
Yeah.
people?
From everybody, but I had to come into because I had to understand the person who I am, right? So me, I know I'm a family man. I know I love being around family. I love being around people, who I love. And so I had to, okay, everybody is different, right? You can say I can give you some advice and I can give Patrick some advice. Y'all may take it two different ways. And so everybody giving me the advice, and I was just like, I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm my own person. So let me put this into a way that is best beneficial, that I can give it off to them.
Do you think because of the generational trauma, you didn't trust the advice from your mom?
Um, yeah, I love my mom, and I say this. It's because I have to learn financial literacy, and that's what I've been learning for the last about 4 or 5 years. And so you don't really know how much your parents left you out of when they not on a financial. You miss out on just learning the basics. And so now I'm in a point where I'm like, dang, man, I wish my mama taught me this and my dad taught me this at 14 and 15. I would be so far much ahead, but I didn't get that. So, but the best thing is that I can learn now. And so I can give it to my kid when they turn 14 and 15. So it's things where I look at it now and I'm just like, I can't blame her because her parents didn't give it to her to give to me. So I have to understand that you can't be frustrated with your parents because your parents sometimes they didn't get the help that you needed. But I got the help that I needed, and being able to heal from the situation, and I was able to move forward and grow from it.
I smile, and when I smile on this show, it's because I hear something that I've experienced myself and
Hmm.
can relate to. And I did a guided meditation similar where I have a great relationship with my mom, but I was seeing things differently from her.
Hmm.
And then I learned that she wasn't shown a love from her mother to pass down to her, to pass down to me. And it allowed me to give her a break to say, okay, I'm going to change this pattern
Yeah.
because I don't like that pattern. I'm not going to pain you for it. I don't want to think differently from you. But now that I've recognized it, it's the key.
Yeah. Most definitely.
And I think it's more for you, maybe it's more than just that pattern.
Yeah.
It's the way you saw things and grown up and seen things. Now that you're out of college,
Hmm.
all along this path where you're working,
Hmm.
first one to go to college, brother who hasn't, sister who hasn't, mom who hasn't,
Yeah.
what's fueling you?
You know what? That's a good question. And you know what it is? I was in the 10th grade. I took up culinary arts in high school. So I was in the 10th grade. I was in a restaurant management class. And there was this teacher, she had a PhD. And I was just in class, I was fidgeting. I already finished my work. And she was like, Carl, you going to college? And I was just like, maybe, I gotta see. And she was just like, and then she asked me that question about a month or so afterwards. And this is towards the end of football season. I'm like, yeah, I want to go to college. She was like, well, Mr. Clark, if you want to go to college, you're going to have to stop procrastinating because you're going to be in college for forever. She was just like, your procrastination is what kills your greatness. And her name was Miss Robinson. And it forever, like, anytime I'm feeling bad or anytime I'm, about to make an emotional decision, I bring that quote back up that she said to me because she wasn't the first person that doubted me, but she led me in the way of doubting me, but she also told me like you the only person who can stop your own greatness. And I have people who doubted me when it came to things like even my coworkers. And I love when people doubt me. It's one of them things where I come from nothing. So you doubt me, this is gonna make me work even harder. And that's my passion. Like anything that I'm gonna do, if I put my mind to it, I'm gonna get it done. I remember when I was telling Dom when I graduated, when I was in high school, coming out of high school, I said I wanted
Dom being my
to
older brother.
And I told him I wanted to open up a restaurant. He was still at Chili's at the time. He was like, Carl, you crazy as hell. And so I just laughed, but I seen why he said that. After being in the industry, 8 years after that, I see why he said that, but I still got that crazy dream, you know?
Well, and he was saying you're crazy because a lot goes into
Yeah.
the restaurant, not because he was doubting you.
Nah.
So you had a mantra. You had something that said, I'm going to lean on these words and I'm
Yeah.
going to lean on people's doubt and I have nothing to lose. So I came from nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to break patterns. I'm telling all the things you've just said. And you're going to make a change for your family, for yourself, more importantly.
Most definitely.
And I asked you before we got on camera and talking was, how you doing? You said kind of, well, I'm just grinding, or my mind.
Yeah.
So you're still working. And when you say my mind and mindfulness and what's that like to you? Because that's a challenge, right?
Yeah. So currently I was let go from my job back in May. Well, June actually. And so
For any reason particular or just layoffs?
just layoffs, furloughs, layoffs, cuts. We're not the only company that went through it. A lot of people getting cuts.
Yeah.
So I was a part of that, but I just got a promotion literally about 2 weeks before that. So as I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I stayed down to come for about a year. I get the promotion. Well, I get the promotion. I'm not even in the position for 2-3 weeks, and boom, we get cut. And so it was just like, man, how do like, it's not my fault that I got cut. It's just like I'm working hard. I'm meeting my KPIs. What's the issue? And so they was making cuts to save money. And so it was one of them things where I was like, dang, like at that time with the money I was making, I was making around about 60, but paying student loans, paying rent, it's like, shoot, I only got a little bit left at the end of the time. So I was literally like paycheck to paycheck. And so with the new promotion, I was just like, I had enough wiggle room. Now I can be like, I can save this amount. I can be in this position by the end of the year. And then all of it came crashing down. I'm like, man, now what I supposed to do? But at the same time, I told you I was working towards certification so I can get licenses so I can make more money. Because the end goal is, like I told you, 5 years. I want to spend the industry I'm in. I want to spend 5 years in it, make enough money, and go full throttle on a restaurant. And I know that sounds crazy, but I know what I'm doing in the industry. So, it's to the point now. That's what mentally was hurting me. Just being like, man, I've been without a solid job for almost 2 months. They played around with our paychecks, played around with our money. Then I recently just lost my car in a flood that we had in Hurricane Beryl, going to go pick up a paycheck. So it's a lot that hits that makes you want to just be like, dang, like some people be ready to give it up all at that moment, but I was just like, no, something got to give, So
what do you lean on?
Just the thought that it's like not to get so much spiritual on everybody, because I have came to find out that I'm not religious, but I am spiritual. And it's been a journey of mine for the last about year and a half or so. But it is a higher being, than just ourselves. And so that's how I like to live my life. I don't leave it up to him, right? Because at the end of the day, that's my job for me to do. My job is for me to go out there and make it up for myself, But in the universe is if you do right to others, others will do right unto you. And karma. I live my life like that. So if I'm working towards my goals and I'm working towards what I want for myself, I'm actually making it happen, everything else gonna fall in line, it's gonna fall in order. it's only things that we can't control. I can't control somebody else's effort. I can't control what nobody else does, but what I control is how much effort I put in and what I'm pushing out. You know,
And this is all recognized by yourself for the most part.
yeah. And my lady as well. She told me I did a complete 360 from 5 years ago to now. And I just told her, I was like, it's different. I said, I don't know what happened in the last couple of years, but it's different. My thought process is not the same. I'm very slow to speak. I'm very quick to listen. I'm eager still, but I want to be like a sponge at times and soak everything up, be understandable to everyone. Understand that it's 8 billion people in this world and we all got different perspectives. And so it's just like learning not to be in my own perspective, so that's just the biggest thing for me, honestly, like going down this path.
And now that you've come to this realization and you're living it, you sharing it with others?
Yeah, well, I have a close friend. His name is Sean. That ain't even a close friend. That's my best friend. That's some brother of mine, and so he opened me up. He opened my eyes up a lot too. Um, Going down this, we do share. He's Muslim. But it's just what you can learn from other people background and learn how they carry themselves. Not, I'm not Muslim, but there's so many teachings that you can implement in your own life and be like, wow, you can do so much healing, and so that's what led me to sharing. I got in the going to this man's group from where I work at on Kids Across America. I share with them. But majority of the time,
Your
if it,
brother? You sharing with your brother?
yeah, I talk to my brother.
How's that?
It's doing good. And now he's more open into my advice than what he were a couple of years ago. And so
And I say that because that's what this podcast is about, right? So it's the idea that if you only have one person to talk to, that can be enough.
yeah,
No
most
one to
definitely.
talk to,
Yeah,
really difficult.
most definitely.
But once you feel like you're onto something, you kind of want to share it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's but at the same time, I stopped sharing everything. You stop sending me less on social media. And it's just one of them things where me, I like my life more private. I like it more so how can I say, when I found the peace that I found, I don't want nobody else to ruin it. So that's why I like to live a private life. Don't know can't nobody keep tabs on you. Can't no old friends or old acquaintances message you. Can't no you living a private life.
Do you find that because of the people that you left,
Mhm.
your peace was not allowing them to get you off course?
Yeah, that's what it was. I think it boils down to that because it was easier for me to say if my mom get into a terrible accident. Yeah, I'm gonna leave college. I'm coming right back home. I couldn't have that mindset, and I didn't learn that till after I graduated college that I couldn't have that mindset because say if I did, what would I be now? Do I go back to school to get the degree, or do I just leave the degree and just go work somewhere? All of those things is just little decisions that plays big parts in our lives. Even it was at a point where I couldn't find housing. And my lady, her mom was just like, just tell him to go back another semester, come back another semester. I was so relentless. I'm like, no, I'm not coming back. And that's when I found that housing with that landlord, with that lady. And so that was the last resort. But I just knew I wasn't coming back. You
And do you
know.
find that when you're doing the things you're doing with the relentless attitude and the work mindset, people will help you when you need it?
Yeah, I would definitely say, like we was talking about a couple of months ago, when people don't want to help you, it is what it is. But at first you have to be willing to help yourself, and that's the biggest thing is that, um, people will help as long as you're willing to help yourself. I had a friend in the same situation where, he needed a job. And I was at Olive Garden at the time and I was just like, hey, if you're willing to work, I can get you a job making $17 an hour. And so he came in there, he worked his butt off. And I just told him he tried to give me money about 3 or 4 months down the road. He tried to give me some money. I'm like, man, keep your money. I was just like, man, I told you, as long as you're willing to work, I can help you. I'm like, I knew I couldn't put you in let you stay with me, anything like that, but I can get you to a point where you can make some money, you know? And
Because you're
so,
giving back because someone gave to you.
yeah, it's one of those things. Even now, when I go see the little kids at the store, their mama tell them no. If I got it to give, I'll just give. I get a mama the money. Like, hey, get it for them because somebody did it for me, you know. And so, and
And who did that for you?
um, you was part of it. My coaches as well. Principals that I went to middle school and high school with because I had one of the same principals. So
So leaning on community, and that helped you.
yeah, I'd say I had my siblings may look at it differently. They be like, "Well, CJ, you always had a strong support system," and I'm like, "Well, because I don't lean people off. I take up everything like a sponge. Because I always tell myself like, you don't know who's around to help you. You just can't burn bridges because you don't, how you feel, however you feel. And that's one of the things I had to learn. Um, and that I don't want to burn bridges. I want to make, strong relationships where, we looking back down, we almost 15 years down the road and be like, dang, I'm 20, I'm in the age where you was when you met me. So it was just like, those type of relationships, the relationships I got with my coaches. I was just talking to one of my coaches about a couple of weeks ago, and I was just telling him, thank you for being a hard ass on me. And so because with his discipline, it lets me know that, hey, you gotta be serious. You gotta be very, very serious about what you want. And so he was that coach, Shout out Coach Parsons. He was that coach that he had me and Jeremiah he had me my junior and my senior year playing defensive tackle. Then he had Jeremiah his sophomore. He had Jeremiah his sophomore, junior, and senior year playing offensive lineman. And so he was that person that got in our butts to make sure we was right.
And I know you live when I say a serious life, like you said, in discipline, but you still find ways to play. You still
Oh
have
yeah,
your
yeah,
fun,
yeah. I
and
still
that's
have my
key,
fun.
right?
Yeah, most definitely. I tell myself I don't try to have too much fun. I stay within my limits of having fun. It's when the more money you make, the more money you can the more fun you can have. But you have to be willing to reward yourself, even with the small wins that you have. Like even like back in 2021 when I was making money in the stock market, for a little bit. And I made fairly decent change. It allowed me to pay for my last semester in college. Went to Las Vegas for my birthday, did it big. And yeah, it was one of them things where you have to you taught me that. You taught me like if you work hard, you might as well enjoy it. If you put the work in, enjoy it. So it was my first time I was just like, you know what? Never been I've been to Vegas back in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. And so that was something small. We just want to see what was out there. But I told my lady, I said, I'm going back out there for my birthday. I said, I got a limit that I want to spend, but I'm going to make sure it's worth it. And so I went out there and just had a ball. We stayed at the Cosmo. Went to Drea's little nightclub, had fun, played roulette, walked away, played roulette, hit single zero, walked away with $625. I was gambling on my last $50 for the night. So it's definitely was worth it, but at the
It goes
same
back to
time,
the little things. It's the
yeah,
little
it's
things,
the
and that
yeah,
propels you when you get back to
yeah,
go back to work and to feel it and to get those highs because you're
yeah,
putting the work in. Even those, and I'll say this: you get uppercut out of nowhere,
yeah,
right? And then it goes back to the mantras and how you got to where you're at, and staying away from the things or the people that can take you off your path, and just you're an example of sticking to what works
yeah,
and trusting. You just said it, whether it's religion or not, trusting the process, leaning on the universe, saying, it will help me. It will help me. And I'll lean on the people. It's just literally almost everything you said encompasses this show and what we're talking about. It's incredible. It's wild because you said it on your own. And you don't know what's going to happen. And you're still young, like you
yeah.
just
You
said,
still, yeah, yeah,
and a lot to learn. And you're giving back. It's incredible. And I would say, you know, you obviously learned a lot from me, but I also learned a lot from you. And I wonder if I asked you,
yeah.
do you have any questions for me? Just because I did learn a lot from you.
Oh,
So
most
I'll be
definitely,
happy to
most
put you in the
definitely.
seat. Now you're in charge.
So one of my questions that I was asking Alicia, I told Alicia the other day, I said, what made you want a little brother to be a mentor? Because you don't be a mentor for 14 plus years and you just want to do it, because it have to be a bigger purpose.
Yeah,
And so
that's
I
a good
always
one.
wanted to ask you that question. I was just like, I don't ever think I asked Alex that question,
It's a really good question. And I was 27 years old,
Mhm.
and I don't think I was giving back in any way to the world.
Right there.
I wasn't doing anything but just for myself.
Mhm.
And I was like, there's got to be something I can do. And I wanted to be hands-on. I didn't have money, like not money to give, but
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to do something. I asked my brother's, Elliot's
Mhm.
girlfriend at the time, and she said, why don't you look into Big Brother? And so I did it on a whim, and I didn't know what to expect. And
Mm.
I honestly thought, I was like, oh, I'll have a little brother. We'll go play football. I'll mold him. Maybe he becomes a star athlete, and that's kind of cool. Maybe he doesn't. I didn't know what I was getting into, but really it was because I had something deeper that I wanted to give back to, and it has given back to me.
Most definitely, most definitely. And I definitely would say that just off the whim, like that's how the application process was for me. It was like, hey, Miss Wendy was the lady. She was like, hey, Miss Jennifer and CJ, y'all come in and filled out the application, and then a couple of weeks went by, a month or two went by, then boom, And next question, I say, how has being a big brother changed your look at being a mentor?
Yeah, another great question. I think you have to be really, really intentional with the advice you're giving. When you're a mentor and someone's listening to you and they take that advice, it's pretty powerful, because if you're giving bad advice, that could take someone completely off their game. So I remember when I would meet with you, which usually was for meals, in a time where I was still really young, in my opinion, 27, 28, 29, 30. But before I sat with you, I'd be like, Alex, you have to be really present right now. You can't be off thinking about other things or doing things. I didn't have a game plan. I never said, well, I'm going to tell CJ this.
Yeah, most
But
definitely.
it was the idea that whatever I tell you, I really have to believe is the right advice and put you on a path that I thought was good. And so, being a mentor, I never had a little brother, like an
Yeah,
actual
I was the youngest.
biological
Yeah.
little brother. So it wasn't pressure. It was just more of just being really, really thoughtful and caring. Like, I genuinely wanted you to have a better life than people had told you you could have.
Most definitely. And I appreciate that, because you always told me that you, like, even when I graduated college, you was like, you did the hard part already. And at first time I didn't really understand you until I was trying to get out the restaurant industry. And I was just like, man, Alex was right. If I didn't go to college, I would have to basically succumb to this unless I could find another entryway. But because I went to college and I have the degree, I was able to make that transition and be able to help myself even better. And so I definitely appreciate the advice that you did give. I know you was young. Trust me, I know you was young, because I'm like, and in these ages, I'm like, man, I'm like, yeah, yep. I would have gotten a beer if I was a big bro. I would have gotten a beer. But you refrain from it sometimes. You was a great big bro. I definitely,
Hit me with the next one.
but um, so what is the biggest lesson you have learned?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that we have to be open to every different part of life, not just the bubble we live in. When I met you, I was ignorant to the fact that fast food is much cheaper than going to a supermarket, that people look at coupons, that the comfort of a city street that is clean and safe is nice and that we walk on, that I was given privileges that other people have. I wasn't completely naive to it, but I think a lot of times you shut yourself off from going there. And I don't think you have to pain yourself from being born into a different place or not having certain things. But I think recognizing that everyone comes from the same place, but experiences such different upbringing, And at the same time, we're all human, right? And so it grounded me. It gave me perspective that said, don't be naive. See what else is going on in other people's lives and grow from that. And I also thought, like, it's tough to commit to something for 6 months, a year, 3 years, 14 years. I wasn't going to give up on what my commitment was, which was to you. And I think that, I learned from that was, that's a hard thing to do. But if I can do that, I can do other things. And also what I gained from it. So once you get through the hard part, you just said it. Hard part was going to college. So my hard part was going to 5 different houses with you and driving around, or committing to 2 weeks a month, or one time a month. The easy part is when we got to 21, 22, 23, 20. Now, this is fun. Not all of that was fun. A lot of it wasn't fun.
A lot of it was brutal,
It's putting in the work and then just enjoying the ride, right? Just enjoying it and seeing you flourish and all that stuff. Don't know if I answered that exactly the way I wanted to,
no,
but
most definitely.
But yeah. So
right there. Another question I say, if we was in the future, what would you tell 35-year-old me?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's about 9 years away.
Yeah. It's not going to be easy. You didn't have it easy and you won't have it easy. But what you get from it is greater than others who did have it easy. So you will have the opportunity to come from a place that others haven't. True, I'd say, poverty to wherever you want to go. I wasn't given that chance. And that's okay, but you have this chance to always lean that you came from nothing, from people saying you can't do it, from not having any of that. You have 9 years to prove that. You're going to get hit in the face 100 times. But each time, it's how you respond where you're going to get where you want. And at that point, you'll know that, again, you put in the work.
Most definitely. Now, this question ain't on here, but after being a mentor, going on almost 15 years, do you ever see yourself being a dad?
Oh,
I know I've been always telling you this for the longest, but it's a good question that I do want to ask. I put this in you and Elliot 40th birthday. What's the name? I don't know if y'all watched it all the way through. And I was telling myself, I'm like, man, so Alex is such a great man. He just can't not leave somebody here, on this earth. That's coming from you, And so I was just like, man, I was just like, just the mentor you were. I could just imagine like a dad you would be to a little one. So I was telling myself, I'm like, Alex got to have a kid one day. Maybe a little bit later down the road, but
it's the real answer is I have generational trauma from my family, and I think that's something I have to work on, like you've had to work on, because it's not something I've always wanted. And what I've learned through a lot of things is never say never. I don't know.
No, I like that answer.
I'll tell you that, like you, I will let the universe decide where that goes.
I like that answer, most definitely.
I'm gonna wrap this up with, and it's been incredible, with we donate to a charity of your choice for every guest that comes on. What charity would you like to donate?
Let's give it back to Big Brother, Big Sister. The one that started our relationship together. So, I definitely would love to give back to them.
And since it's Alex Perry on Fire, what fires you up?
Just the grind. I love the process. One of the quotes we used to have in football in high school was this: love the process and you love what the process create. And we'd be going through marine workouts and stuff. And I was just see people be vomiting, and I'm in there hanging on, And so through that, I look at, even when you take that and take it football out of it, you put it in the real world. I'm like, okay, I got to go to work. Got to make sure bills pay. I got to save for the future. That's the grind. And we got to love it. It ain't every day it's not going to be peaches and cream. Every day ain't going to be muddy, but You have to be willing to let the emotion sit to the side and put in the logic and be willing to work. And so that's what I love. I love the grind is what fires me up. So.
And you know how I believe you? Is because when you said it, you smiled.
Oh yeah, because people like, you know, people will doubt you. People look at you. All right. Most people, like, I was sitting at the grocery store the other day, and I was just in line, and this lady just kept looking at me. And when I go to the grocery store, I'm not coming out the house like this. I'm coming basketball shorts, knees maybe ashy, with a tank top on. You know, I'm not gonna look the part. And, you know, the lady just kept staring at me. And normally I ask people what they looking at, you know, but I just let her stare. Just let her stare. And so I'm leaving out. I'm like, ma'am, you all good? She was just like, I don't know how people can come out the house looking like that. You like, you don't got no money. You broke. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm okay. I'm not rich, but this is just, I'm coming out the house looking like this. And so that lets me know that people gonna all have their own perspective, you know, but it's all about what you want out your own life. And, you know, I may look like how I'm looking, but that ain't my perspective in life. You know, that's not where I'm at, you know? And so that's how I just feed off of that. I feed off when people tell me I can't do nothing. I feed off with people I don't look the par. You know, I love that. I love that.
Well, you have a great perspective, and you've given me good perspective. And I will tell you, as a non-blood brother, you're still my brother.
Almost
and I love
definitely
you.
same,
And
big bro.
I'll say this: I am so proud of you because you've done such an incredible job with not a lot.
Yeah.
But you keep going. And I know more than the audience of the
Yeah,
hits
most
you've
definitely.
taken. And what makes me emotional about it is you have this incredible attitude, and you won't stop, and you won't be deterred. And I just can't wait to see you grow.
Appreciate you, big bro. And you part of the fire. You know, you part of the reason why, you know, I get up. I still never forget we went to WrestleMania. That was my first time ever going to WrestleMania. You took me for my 18th birthday. And the way we navigated through the crowds, you know, you would think like we had VIP sections or something. But it's just let me know that you move with determination. And I always tell myself, I'm like, I gotta move with determination. You know, my lady tell you the same thing now. I move with determination. Anytime I say I'm going to go do it, I'm boots on the ground moving. And it's just like the little things that you show me examples of. And it's just like, man, like I'm taking that and I'm applying it into my life because I need it. I need that. You know, I need to be determined. Or even when we ride in the car and you handling things for work and you're not being passive. You know, you being firm and aggressive about what you need done. You know, I'm like, man, I took that same aspect and I'm like, let me apply it to the restaurant industry. And so I was friendly, but I was firm and aggressive. And things started getting so much done, so much better. So I was just like, you know, it may be just the look moments, but I'm like, I'm looking, you know, I'm like, okay, I cannot apply that to my life. You know, I like that. I like the aggressiveness. I like the firmness. I like how people got it done. They literally call you back in about 30 minutes after. It's like, okay, we got that done. So I'm like, yeah, that's, you know, I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate that. I always appreciate that you been there, not just for me, you know, for my family as well. I know my brother Jeremiah appreciates you a lot, you know, being there for him. Even Elliot, you know, y'all helping him get a job back in 2020. And you know, we appreciate you all. You know, like mama always say, you know, anything that I can do, you know, I told you, I'm always gonna be around, even when you get old. You know, I'm still gonna be around. So, most definitely.
Love it. Well, this was special. Thank you.
Hey, no problem, big bro. No problem at all.
Incredible.